I just returned from shopping in Dystopia, Grants Pass Walmart. I am to sort of say all of the details I normally would. Notable thing that happened at the Walmart is that the Walmart Blue and Yellow Vest Terror Associates are extremely angry at me today. More than normal terror attempts to kill me. Today it was personal. I overheard in many places in the store from Walmart associates and from the fake shoppers who compose the Canadian Terror Army members who work the Walmart as a killing field. That Sterling Chartrand is the person who drove into the Monroe Terror Cell last night and tried to shoot me with a crossbow. Apparently, Sterling's nitrous rank ignited last night as I was walking by on my driveway while he was releasing gas and trying to shoot me. I also overhear someone saying Eugene, and I suspect that is the replacement terror soldier who plays role of Jennifer Chartrand. The information I gained at the Walmart is that both Sterling and Eugene burst of nitrous ignition last night. The Walmart Terror Associates made my shopping trip difficult, but they did not try to kill me today, and that is unusual. I saw the Joan Phillips replacement terror soldier driving the Joan Phillips Nissan Quest minivan, older model, gray blue color, as I was leaving my house. Fake Phillips was followed by the people driving one of the Myers cars. I could not see if either of them is the real Myers or not. I suspect they are also imposters, while the real Myers are staying somewhere else. Other notable observation was the big rig truck with big Walgreens trailer parked at exit 66 where the terror watchdogs are always at. There was a driver-eye the stationary truck, watching me closely as I rolled by. That is significant considering that in Wilson, her husband, Dean Wetter, and at least one Walgreens pharmacy tech terror representative was killed in defense at the Walgreens when those three and one other attacked me at the pharmacy counter there. Walgreens has been sending assassins to my home regularly for about 2 years, so that truck is nothing really new. It was there to watch and to frighten me is why they parked that Walgreens trailer at the exit. You'll wager that truck has been there every day since my last Walgreens visit. There is absence of helpful people. No help has come. The Terror Army still occupies and controls the Walmart. Metdazzolone mixed with nitrous oxide is the most powerful weapon ever used in warfare. When used by an army that develops specializes ways and means to use it offensively. There was a lot of airborne gas released in the store yesterday. When I said that the Walmart Terror Associates did nor try to kill me, I was wrong. I remember now some of the details that happened near the jewelry counter at about 30 p.m. The details are sad. They include that at least one child was injured or killed. My memory is limited. I asked a Walmart Blue Vest Terror Associate for assistance. There was a setup. There were at least 7 people there waiting for me to ask for the assistance. As the need for the assistance was part of the setup. 1 male with the small 8-year-old girls. 1 shoulder-length blonde woman thin, about 35 years old. 1 Walmart Blue Vest female, heavy set, about 50 years old. Blonde, gray curly hair. 1 other woman with big breasts, low-cut top. Short, 53-ish, about 40 years old, all involved. My recollection is that the woman with the low-cut top and 1 child was injured or killed as a result of a fight that lasted about 2 seconds when the child was told to stab me in the foot with a sharp object. I defended, the girl got hurt, and so did the woman with low-cut top. I am under the impression that the woman with low-cut top was using the name Tammy and they called her New Tammy. If that is correct, then that woman has been staying at 520 Jack Pine in place of the original Tammy for an unknown amount of time. All I wanted was to know where the heating pads are at. That group was doing more of the chip away at the Stone Terror, where the terrorists injure someone and later they attack again, targeting the same injury as they inflicted on a previous attack. The chip away at the stone tactic is part of the COVID coronavirus false plague that news media is advancing as an attack scenario in geographic areas where the hospitals and medical clinics have already been taken over by the British and Canadian terror offensive. The Terror Army find ways to lure people to go to a hospital, one where there are no doctors, only terror assassins are there, dressed in hospital clothing, pretending to be nurses, doctors, medical staff. Victims are injured, poisoned, attacked. They either go to a hospital or clinic on their own, or are taken to a medical facility by someone else. Victims are killed there at the hospital as they seek medical help. SAG arranges replacement imposters who take the victim's place at their home, prey on other family and friends, and the cycle continues with ever more and more victims being replaced with imposters who are Canadian terror soldiers. The Terror Army grows in size exponentially that way. SAG leadership arranges shield candidates on voting ballots for every elected office race there is. SAG leadership instructs the imposters about how they are to vote. The imposters are told which candidates and ballot measures they are to vote for. The outcome of the elections is known before the ballots are printed. Screen Actor Guild includes all of the entertainment unions, their members, and all of the support services used by SAG unions. Those are the leadership in USA. SAG takes their marching orders from Britain, I.O. Downing Street, and House of Lords members. Twitter, news media, and other verified accounts are where the commands to advance updates. Information to the Terror Army is presented most. Music industry is where the high command of the Terror Offensive clothing is at. This Tumblr account explains many important details of the takeover of USA, how it is being done, by whom, who the leaders are, what their goals are, some of the coded messaging language they use, and how to read it, and where the commanded marching orders are presented, and from where those orders originate, is all explained here. There is information about the preferred weapons the Terror Army uses, how to defend against some of those weapons, and how the weapons are used defensively is contained in this Tumblr account. There is enough information contained in this Tumblr account to stop 90% of all of the terrorism on Earth. Once you understand how the terror is done, and by whom, then you will easily understand how I can say that 90% of all terrorism can be put to an end forever without hurting any one particular group of people. There are about 10 major objectives that could be reached to end the terrorism by taking out the leadership and the means of which to communicate globally. First and foremost, Twitter must be taken offline at the source. After that, putting an end to the terror is much easier, safer, and indeed is not possible until Twitter is taken offline. The biggest challenge is that USA does not have a plan to implement an event of a post-government takeover. I am not talking about January 6th. I am referring to an offensive that has gone undetected and gained momentum for more than 50 years. The events that took place at the Walmart yesterday are a result of the planned global offensive being waged against the entire world under the guise of COVID and coronavirus in its current state. The plague state of attack is the final stage. After this stage is complete, there will be no more USA in favor or French North American Republic territory. Oregon, California, and Washington state are already completely hijacked. The entire west coast of USA is no longer occupied by any citizens. They are all Canadians in disguise, and their SAG leaders. Please send help. Bring your own hospital. Us military is required, but the US president is part of the terror leadership. So things are looking very bleak for the future of USA and freedom. Those who would research this terror offensive and defend USA, please study this account. Please pay attention to something I explained about a group called First Words. That group's existence makes a complication that if overlooked could cause big problems for those who would defend USA and freedom. Basically, the Afterswords are a terror army that resides within the bigger SAG Retain Canada arrangement. I don't know as much as I need to know about them, but what I do know is that the SAG Retain team was not aware of the existence of an opposing Afterswords team within their ranks until I exposed that here on this account in around Trump's second year. The Afterswords can be described best and easiest as the difference between the Jorge Bergoglio Pope Francis Vatican and the former German Vatican Pope Benedict. The Bergoglio is fake, is a SAG actor playing role of Pope. The Pope Benedict is a more real Pope. None of that. Christianity is real, but you need to learn it on your own. They are all pirates for 2,000 years. So it turns out that the Trump-associated people in his government and around the world are part of the Pope Benedict Afterswords. They have been quietly undermining the advance of the SAG Bergoglio Vatican SAG written arrangement from within the SAG leadership and also from within the Canadian Army ranks. It's a complicated mess. Be advised of the existence of it. What I have learned includes the Afterswords members live and work among the ranks of their host terror army, the SAG Retain Canadian arrangement. They all achieve the same goal side by side, together, as the terror army takes possession of new ground by killing us family, or business, or other entity that has been replacing the people at those locations is done post-attack. The Afterswords will make confusion when they are able to. If they can make it appear as though one of the SAG Canadian soldiers was killed in the fight to take the property, they will do that. Also, I have learned that there comes a time of anxiety among the terror army at the time immediately after a takeover occurs, resulting of an attack on us property. So, during that time of transition, only maybe a few hours, there is opportunity there for Afterswords to do a number of different ways to eliminate a SAG Canadian in favor of putting an Afterswords member in place at the newly obtained spoils of the attack. So, confusion and deception is duplicated, one thing on top of another thing, in a cutthroat, backstabbing, terror offensive where one team lives inside of the other host team without their knowledge until recently. The prize at the end is planet Earth and all of its people and resources. I do not know why the Afterswords are insubordinate to their host army. There must be fundamental differences of how to proceed once the objectives are reached. I can demonstrate the existence of the Afterswords who are within the SAG Retain arrangement by drawing attention to Twitter news stories. Twitter is part of, is owned by, is run and operated by the SAG Britain side of the terror offensive. Twitter is the command vehicle for the offensive. In the news stories, wide-angle view, you can see that the media is obsessed with the idea that there could be some Trump supporters around. I ask that those who would protect USA see that fact as a window into the idea that the Sad Bertain arrangement is trying to flush out and identify those Trump supporters as after-swords members. You won't read the term after-swords, however, that is the term that is used by the members of that group. I did not make up the term after-swords. I learned it from local terror members. It turns out that all of the Little Pantry Market Terror Cell members are all after-swords members. The Little Pantry Market Terror Cell is responsible for killing many millions of Oregon citizens. I witnessed thousands of murders at the markets. No one will interview me. No one will speak to me. No one makes contact with me to learn more. It has proven impossible to reach public safety persons. In effort to explain what I have seen and learned in 25 years of watching as the Oregon population was slaughtered, please send help. Be advised of after-swords. It's important that you do. For the simplest way to find the most terror soldiers, see that SAG took over the Social Security Administration. All of it. SAG has control of all of the field offices and the HQ. SAG used the database to hunt victims years ago. Before Too Big to Fail happened, the disabled and elderly people have income. They have insurance for medical services. They are all broken. Easy to capture, killing. Replaced with Canadian terror operatives. Before Too Big to Fail, the Social Security beneficiaries made easy prey. Provided income that could easily be perpetuated. Medical insurance that allowed. Access into the hospitals and clinics that are all hijacked now and are being used as killing fields for the Corona Plague final stage of the US takeover. So, for finding terrorist soldiers, find and disabled people through Social Security database information. There, you will find the parents and grandparents of the younger active terror soldiers, and those are people who have been murdering us citizens for 50 years. The long-term care facilities are all occupied by old retired Canadian terror soldiers. Medicare Part was invented in around 2006 or so. Whenever it was, that part has a timing of inception that coincides with Too Big to Fail in many ways. Too Big to Fail changed the way the vast terror army was funded. After that happened, the local terror army all began to derive new cars and trucks. The part was mostly devised as a means to supply SAG actors, musicians, clowns, and magicians with the kinds of recreational drugs they prefer, while eliminating any paper trail that would lead to them, and providing a vast private pool of preferred recreational drugs to SAG members through an entity they call Club. Club grew from a drug supply chain to an all-inclusive sort of terror vacation package that includes murder for entertainment. Pay-to-play fits into the club arena. The entertainers the citizens love to watch have been luring the audience to their deaths for 50 years, and no one has noticed.